Train Sim World 6 is out today, and I don't have much to say. It's Train Sim World, but with a 6 this time. Ignoring the grievances with yearly releases, I figured, hey, since I've been on one of these lines in real life, and I know all the rolling stock well, and since I've been playing it since early access started, I have a good few hours on this route. But before we do it, I need to make a change. So let's quickly talk about Morristown and Leipzig Dresden. Morristown is great, Leipzig Dresden is meh. Okay, now I don't need to talk about those. Let's make our bigger change. And boom, here we are. More expressive in the face, isn't she? The original artwork was commissioned and I'm happy with it. She looks so cute. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's get started, shall we? Looking at the route itself, yeah, I have to say, it actually looks pretty good. From my driving experience, I can say that it's one of the better looking UK routes in Train Sim World. Especially the water, which I'm glad they changed to look more like water and less grid-like. The red cliffs near the seawall too, they look great. Even the drag that is Newton Abbot to Plymouth doesn't look bad at all. And yeah, Newton Abbot to Paignton is good too. Overall, the route looks great. Stations are also nicely done too. There's not really much to say except for what I've said before. Nicely done and pretty good recreations. There's even this bench dedicated to one of the DTG producers, Chris Edwards, who sadly passed away not that long ago. I appreciate that they did that for them. Not to say it's perfect though. No, there are some nitpick and problems with the route. The Dawlish seawall and town looks very lifeless without many NPCs. That goes for the seawall and beaches near Teignmouth too. Exeter St David's is also missing its IAT stop markers on platforms 5 and 6, and Plymouth entirely. Also, the lighting in spots such as Lara, Torquay and Teignmouth need some looking at. Yeah, great, but not perfect. In terms of mileage, 60 miles, and the runs you'll be doing are an average of 40 minutes up to an hour and 20 minutes. Not much to complain about. It is a shame that we get no Exmouth, but I'll live with it for this route, since by default it is more non-linear than the majority of routes that we have. Now on to the trains, which we have all seen before. None of them are new-ish to the game. We've already have the 150/2 twice before this. This one being appropriately modified to meet GWR specification, and it's also had its sound set changed. Out of the 3 versions we have, this one sounds more prototypical. The physics are a little sluggish, but what do you expect from a train that came from the 80s? The 802 is the proper MVP of the route, to me anyway. The model's reused from the LNER 801, which was expected, again with the appropriate GWR modifications made. Both 5 and 9 car variants, and the sound set is a major step up from the 801. so much better. Minor nitpick, the doors in the vestibule don't close automatically when they should, and the crew seats in the kitchen are completely missing. Otherwise, it's a great train to drive, and this route really lets us stretch its legs. It's a shame we don't get the 800 though, since it basically needs no external changes, and really, only the fuel capacity and a slight livery alteration for the 800/0s. And before anyone gets wise with me, 800s do go into Devon and Cornwall. For any doubt, here's 800-020 at St Austell. I won't talk about the layers here, although it's nice to let the 166 and HST also stretch their legs as extras. So, in terms of the route, it's great. But we also have a deluxe train to look at, which is the Voyager, which... Okay, I'll give it this. The modelling is great, and it absolutely blasts the Train Sim Classic models. It's nice to finally get a Voyager for this game, because it's one of the most viable and common trains that you'll see in the UK. But why do we only get the 220? Not a 221 also? I understand that they have different bogies for their tilt, and it might need a slight cab alteration, but it can't be that much to ask for. They don't even need the tilt functional. Cross-country isolated the system on their 221s. Also, don't say the extra Coach B is different. It really isn't any different to Coach C. We also seem to be missing a livery, but don't worry, the community already has that one covered. And the sound set. I'm sorry, but I really don't like the sounds. Here's an IRL one for comparison. It's missing the turbo whine that the QSK engines are pretty much known for, and missing their funny money box sounds whenever crossing joints and points. I understand they weren't able to get a recording trip, and that's fine, and I respect the transparency. But that doesn't mean I can't criticise the sounds. That isn't how being unbiased works, I'm afraid. There's also a pretty major issue with the emergency brakes, where no matter what I do, the brakes do not release whatsoever. If you ever throw your 220 into emergency, you're gonna have to restart the service. And another bug where the 220 engines fail way too often. Apparently the 150 also has the same issues, but I disabled the engine faults because it annoyed the hell out of me with the Voyager, so I can't confirm the 150 side of the story. Overall, the route is great, and it's a step above West Coast when it first came out on Train Sim World 5. But the Voyager as a deluxe loco is underwhelming, and has a big bug with those emergency brakes and faults happening way too often to be fun as a new feature for this game. And it's nice to see the return of Great Western Railway after their other debut in 2017. I can actually say I recommend the Riviera line, but the Voyager, I say get it on a sale or until its bugs are fixed. Well, that's it mainly. thank you for putting up with my annoying waffle, and I hope you liked the new Bluejay that I'm using to communicate through. See ya!